Hey sport fans, welcome to another segment of My Community Sports on, of course, My Community Show, a show that celebrates the greatness and, of course, the achievement of Africans in Houston, Texas area, and by extension, the entire United States. My name is yours truly, Bayonle Arashi. I'm always excited coming your way every week on the show, bringing you the best, the latest information, highlights, and news regarding the world of sports. Straight to some transfer news today on the show. FC Barcelona have signed Atletico Madrid forward Antoine Griezmann by activating his buyout clause of, wait for it, 120 million euros. That 28-year-old French star signed a 5-year contract with the Camp Nou Football Club, FC Barcelona, from now till June 2024. And of course, Barcelona added another buyout clause on his contract of, wait for it again, 800 million euros. 800 million euro buyout clause on Antoine Griezmann. So that means one thing and one thing only, that Antoine Griezmann will probably be ending his career at FC Barcelona. Congratulations to that superstar FC Barcelona forward Antoine Griezmann. I think Barcelona is definitely ready for the new season coming in. And of course, maybe if they're able to get Neymar in addition to Lionel Messi, that was going to be a big squad. And of course, they will conquer the entire Europe, hopefully next season. Real Madrid are also doing the same thing, buying every player possible. Straight to another transfer news. Ajax captain Matthijs de Ligt has arrived to Turin to complete his £67.5 million move to Serie A champions Juventus. The youngster, the 19-year-old, arrived to Turin yesterday in a private jet. You could see the picture right there. You see that man behind him looking at the young star like, hey, look at this young man with the word at his feet. Congratulations to Matthijs de Ligt as well, the Ajax captain, just 19-year-old. Wow, that guy has many years ahead of him to play the beautiful game. And of course, remember, he was the captain that captained Ajax to the semi-finals of the UEFA Champions League last season. Definitely, he's going to be a big addition to the Juventus squad. Many people are already saying Cristiano Ronaldo was the agent behind that move, because if you remember that game after Juventus were knocked out by Ajax in the Champions League last season, Ronaldo was seen talking to the Ajax captain, talking to his ear and saying, come on, come join us in Turin, come join us in Juventus Football Club. Congratulations to you. Finally, another transfer news I have for you today. Newcastle have signed 59-year-old Steve Bruce as their manager for the next 3 seasons. Steve Bruce is taking the spot left by Rafa Benitez at the stadium right there in Newcastle. Hopefully, it's going to be a success. A lot of fans of Newcastle Football Club are not in support of him coming to the club, but of course, the owner of the club is Mike Ashley, very dogged man. He doesn't care what anybody has to say. He went ahead and bringing Steve Bruce to Newcastle, and hopefully he will be a success in the English Premier League and wherever they will be competing next season. That's it for transfer news this week on My Community. Straight to Africa Cup of Nations, as it's going to be rounding off this Friday in Egypt. Of course, you know, the champions and the hosts have already been knocked out. Egypt, of course, Morocco also knocked out, but we have one North African country in the final. I will talk about that one later. But first, the semi-final games, very tough one for Nigeria to swallow, but it happened. But Senegal first played the first semi-final of the day versus Tunisia. A very tough game, but there was no goal in that game until 100 minutes. That means the extra time of the game, when Senegal had to score just one goal. And of course, Tunisia also had the opportunity to score their own equalizer, but they couldn't do it. So Sadio Mane and Aliou Cisse, their manager, they will be playing the final come Friday. In the other semi-final, of course, that has to do with Super Eagles of Nigeria versus Algeria. They do not have a very good record against themselves. It's always a fight to finish whenever those two teams finish. And people are already saying the jersey is the reason why Nigeria lost to Algeria. I don't believe in that. I believe if you play your game very, very well, you always have a way to win. And I also believe the Algerians have better squad than the Super Eagles at this time. Maybe in the next edition of the Africa Cup of Nations, the Super Eagles might actually go all the way to win it. Riyad Mahrez, Manchester City forward, free kick at the death of that game in the 93rd minute actually ended the Super Eagles' hope of reaching another Africa Cup of Nations final. He couldn't save Daniel Akpeyi. He could not do anything about that free kick. It went in, and of course, Riyad Mahrez celebrated in a very, very huge way. The game ended 2 goals to Algeria, 1 to the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Odion Ighalo scored 4 goals so far in the Africa Cup of Nations. He's topping that table, and maybe yesterday, during the third place game versus Tunisia, he has done something because that game was already played yesterday. But I do not have the result as at the time of recording this particular show. Finally on the show, when Algeria and of course Senegal played themselves on Friday in that final of the Africa Cup of Nations, history and another milestone will have been achieved. There will be 2 local African coaches in the finals of the Africa Cup of Nations for only the 5th time in history. It has only happened 4 times before, in 1962, in 1965, in 1978, and of course in 1998, when Egyptian Mahmoud El Gouhari became the first man to win the AFCON as a player. He won it in 1959, and of course as a player, and of course in 1998 he repeated the feat for Egypt by winning it as a coach. The other local coach that has done that as a player and as a coach is our own, late now though, the great big boss Stephen Keshi. He was also one of the only African manager to win the Africa Cup of Nations as a coach and as a player. So congratulations to Aliou Cisse, and of course I'm trying to call the name of the Algerian coach very well, Jamel Belmadi, for making history for Africa. And of course, good luck to both teams on Friday. That's about it for me this week